Hi there. In this video, I want to share with you my journey of coding with AI for more than a year and how I went from not even knowing what GitHub is and how to use it to having my very first product launched, being used by more than 10 users and having its first paying customer. And I hope at the end of the video I can inspire some of you, so you also sit down and start working on your ideas and start making your ideas a reality. Because at the moment where the coding capabilities are from the AI tools, there are really just two limitations: time and ideas. Because if you can find time to sit down and work on your ideas that you already have, then after you just open your laptop, start talking English to your laptop, and at the end of the day you will have a running project that you always had in your mind to get it working. And I really hope I can inspire some of you. And in this video, I will show you the processes I learned and things I learned during this year, the tools I used to create my tools, and also some of the highlights and projects that I worked on, all with the help of AI. And before we go any further, it's important to note that the code and scripts written in these tools and all the codes that some of it I will show, 99% of it is written by AI. I'm still not a developer. I don't claim myself to be a developer. Probably a junior developer, not probably, 100%, a junior developer knows more than I do about writing code and developing, and I'm totally fine with it, because right now I'm coding with English and talking English to my laptop, and I think that's totally fine. Because I can create my projects that I want, and the ideas, I can get the ideas out of my head. So this journey was basically a growing curve, where I started at the beginning of last year with small scripts and then worked towards combining API calls from OpenAI, connecting Supabase databases, and then Stripe, and then authentication tools into my project. And I'm happy that accidentally happened like this way, that I started with small projects and worked myself towards bigger projects. And I can only recommend, and I think this is the main advice I can have to you, that start really slow. So if you just start out on your journey with coding with AI, start small, solve some smaller problems in your Google Ads account or whatever it might be that you do. Start automating some of the things with the help of AI with a little bit of code, so you get used to how to ask for it, how to debug issues when you face issues in the codes that AI generated. And then as soon as you start liking it and you start understanding a bit more, work towards a bigger project. Because the thing is that the knowledge that the AI tools have, and it's already there, but you don't have that knowledge, so you don't know how to ask for certain things. So for example, at the beginning of last year, an AI tool knew how to connect the Stripe database and make an open AI API call and all those things, but I didn't even know what Stripe is at the beginning of last year. So I needed also to go through to those processes to gather information, to learn more, so I can later ask for all that from the AI tools and then combine it in a bigger project. Because this is still a sort of limitation of the AI tools. You need to ask them to do something, and you can't ask an AI tool to do something that you don't even know that exists or it can do. So yeah, you also need to learn and develop yourself in order to get to a point where you can create and understand complex projects and with the help of AI tool, make that a reality. Because if I compare myself to the person and the knowledge I had a year ago, that's a lot of improvements over there. Because a year ago I didn't even know what you use GitHub for, and what the deployment is, what the DNS or a CNAME record is, and now I know all those things, and I learned it with the help of AI. Because all the projects I did and the developments I made, they needed those things, and when AI recommended it, hey, what's that? I asked again, DNS record, CNAME record, why I use it, how to set it up. And then when I messed it up and I created a redirect loop on one of my projects, you learn the hard way. But all those things need to happen slowly, and you work yourself towards understanding all those other things that come into launching the product and making a project live and getting it up to a domain name, because that's something also I didn't know at the beginning of last year. I didn't know how you get a bunch of files that sit in a folder live on a domain name that people can type into their browser and they visit that product and then they do things with it, and how a bunch of files in a folder can make that happen. So I also didn't know that, and I needed to go through the processes to learn that and to understand how that works before I was able to really launch a product. Now you might ask that if you want to create your own product, what kind of tools you need to use. And my recommendation on the tools that you need to use basically reflects my recommendation on how you start out. So also start slowly. When at the beginning you start working on some smaller scripts, a ChatGPT or a Claude Pro subscription for $20 a month, it's more than enough. Those tools will be able to help you all the way, create smaller scripts for all kinds of use cases that you might have without you even needing anything else. Those are perfectly fine for basically all the smaller tools that you want to create. And then as soon as you start progressing and you find out that, hey, this is interesting, I can create more complex projects, more interesting stuff, then it's the thing when you face the limitations and you will realize yourself, hey, I'm hitting here a wall of these tools and I need to go and look further. That was for me around May, when I started to work on a bigger project where I had multiple files that needed to work together in order to have the actual product working. And the problem with Claude was, which I used back then, is that it recommended a change to make to this file, but then forgot to mention that I need to add something to the other file. And when I tested the tool, everything broke down and didn't work. And I didn't understand why. And then I started to ask and I realized, okay, so if I make this change here, I need to make the change in the other file. And that was really frustrating. And I already saw that, hey, if I want to make a bigger project where I have, let's say, 20 files, that will be a problem. And that's when I discovered Cursor. And Cursor is an IDE, an integrated development environment, where AI is already built into the tool itself. And the nicest thing about it, that tool, so Cursor, can see your whole database and then edit the files for each of them and make the changes on all the files where the change needs to be made in order to get the tool working. And I think, just like I mentioned, start slowly, and when you start hitting a wall, Cursor probably is a nice option. But there are also many other IDEs, so you don't have to use Cursor. I use Cursor because I really like it, how it works. It has a lot of cool features. And that's the one I'm sticking with, and I can only recommend it. And basically that's the secret. There's not much more to add to this. Start working on things and use Claude and ChatGPT at the beginning, and then as soon as you need different tools, there are plenty others that you can try. And if you have ideas, then go make them a reality. And just to recap everything that I mentioned before we move forward and I can show you some of the projects I worked on, is start slow with smaller scripts, smaller projects. Use at the beginning only the basic tools, just such as ChatGPT, a Claude, and then upgrade later on for Replit, Cursor, Windsurf, you name it, as soon as you need those tools and you feel that, hey, I'm hitting a limitation over here. And the most important, just start doing it. If you think you like it, if you have an idea, if you want to make a project, start working on it and then see where that goes. The only thing you need is time, and start talking to your laptop in your own language, be that English or any other language, and you will see a working product as really, really soon. And now that I showed you the process I took last year and how I started with smaller projects and worked myself towards bigger projects. Let me show you a few of the tools that I actually made using AI, so I can further inspire you, and hopefully I can soon see all of your tools shared in the comments below or somewhere else on the internet. One of the first projects that I'm really proud of is the AI automation image generation tool that I created for my team. There are some of the Dutch text, but ignore it. In short, what this tool does, it takes a product photo and a blank product photo and creates from it a lifestyle image. So what happens is that we send an input photo like this, and this is what comes out of it, or another example, and then a third example. And this was the very first project that I also mentioned where I hit the limitation of ChatGPT and Claude, that I needed multiple files to work together in order to make this reality. The second project is this really stupid spaceship calculator that probably burns your eyes out with this color selection. But this is a milestone, a big milestone for myself, because this is the very first project in my life that I deployed and committed to GitHub. And it's actually accessible on the internet. I will put the links in the comments and the description of this video. But yeah, this is when for the first time I experimented with creating a set of files and deploying that somewhere so it's available online. It's still hosted on GitHub Pages, which is a free version of GitHub where you can host certain projects. And all it does, it can do 4 operations. So you click on it and then a rocket shows up, because why not? Rockets will always show up, and it makes the operation for you and it gives you the result. Pretty basic. And then as I move forward, around August and September, I started to work on a much bigger project. And that was a workout tracker app that I wanted to build for myself, so I can basically replace my old spreadsheet with an app where I can have a bit more graphs and a bit more automated, because the spreadsheet was a bit outdated. And this is what I created and I came up with. This is basically a workout tracker. I don't want to share the link to this because I don't want to make it public. This is only for myself. And what's nice about this, I can see my weekly workout that I need to do right now, which is calculated based on certain things. I won't go into details. Then I can track my weight and I can log it and I can see the averages. I can also see the how much weight I need to lift, and I can see progression for certain exercises. This is connected to a Firebase database where all the data is stored and then the calculations are made. This was really a bigger project to make because I needed to add an authentication to this. I needed to connect it to a backend database where all the data is stored, and to create a graph. So here there are a lot more files in the directory compared to the spaceship calculator. So there were also a lot more errors that I faced during the process when I developed this. And it took a bit more time to make it a reality. The next project that it's really another milestone for myself is the Google Ads seasonality bid adjuster, because this one is the very first project for which one I bought a domain name. It's hosted on its own domain name. You can probably see already the link on the screen showing up. And it's really easily accessible for other people. And I created this tool for my team and for the PPC community. So basically, if you work in the Google Ads industry, you know that before bigger sales, such as Black Friday or other events, you want to set Google Ads seasonality bid adjustments so you can push your campaigns a bit harder. And this tool helps you to find the correct seasonality bid adjustment that you need to set in the account based on historical data. And this was also really fun to create. And actually, the tool that you see here and all the functionalities was created, I think, around in half an hour. With a few basic prompts, everything was up and running. I just needed to buy a domain name, connect it to a domain name, and then it was up and running. And it's been used 200 times since its launch day. Nowadays, nobody uses it, but in November, it was used a lot because that's the season where we set a lot of seasonal bit adjustments. And with this, we arrive to the final tool that I want to show you, which is the biggest project that I worked on. Has a lot of files, a lot of things going on in the background, the API calls going out and coming back, connected to a backend database, connected to Stripe. So a bit more complex than the spaceship calculator or the workout tracker app that I showed you. And this is my AI body fat analyzer, which is a tool that, based on an image input, can tell you how much body fat percentage is on your body. And in the background, there's an AI model working that is trained on a lot of data to accurately tell you how much body fat percentage is in it. This tool, all you need to do after you created an account, you just drop your image to this tool and then ask AI to analyze it and tell how much body fat percentage is on that image. It also uses other inputs to make the prediction a lot more accurate. And before you ask, this is not a picture of me, so don't worry. And as you can see, after it analyzes the picture, it gives you how much body fat percentage is on your body. It also gives a lot of detailed analysis and all kinds of other things, comparisons to healthy ranges in that range. And then you can also see that showing up in your progress tracker. So yeah, this was a lot of fun to make. There are a lot of things going on with this tool and I worked a lot on it, but this tool, as I showed it to you, it's 99% created by AI. I didn't write a single line of code on it. And I believe that if something like this is possible, then there are a lot more other things that we can do. Feel free to check this tool out, give feedback if you like. It's not perfect, it's created by AI, like I mentioned, but yeah, it has users that uses the tool, and I also had my very first paying customer that bought the tool itself for the pro version. So that's that was a nice surprise and a nice boost, moral boost for the upcoming things that I have. So I really hope that this inspires you and you start working on your own ideas and creating on your own tools, because it's a lot of fun to create tools and to get our ideas out of our head and put it into working and let them work. So if you have any questions or feedback on this, let me know in the comments, and then otherwise I see you in some other videos.